All right, quickly. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to all of my GCA champions. I am Michelle Gilyard. I'm your service and leadership advisor here at Georgia Cyber Academy. And this is another wonderful session for our first ever Georgia Cyber Academy conference for CTAE. So remember, we're always trying to come up with new ideas and find new ways to get you students what you need and help you out with what your future goals are. So, again, this is our first time doing this, so it's a growing program. With that being said, I have a CTAE month survey in the group note board. It is not an attendance um, survey per se, more of an information gathering so that I, as a service and leadership advisor, can have ideas on what you guys need, what your plans are, so that when we're planning and getting things ready for you guys in the future, that we're able to provide different types of services for you. So if you haven't filled it out already, or if there's something has changed, maybe you did attend one of our previous sessions and something has changed, it's okay. Fill it out again. Remember, whenever we have a survey, if you have to submit it twice, I always look at the most recent survey. All right. So don't worry about submitting twice if you want to. Also, it's no problem, Casey. I know you're here. I'm here for us. The other one is the CTAE month schedule. So two things. Go ahead and click on that and bookmark it. The schedule does not change. However, I do add recordings for our presenters and the presentations, as well as the CTAE month surveys, where you guys have an opportunity to submit a survey for my Service and Leadership Club students to submit some videos for counseling that they wanted. It's about 6 questions about choosing your pathway and what your future plans were. Even if you don't know what your pathway is, you can talk about your career and what you plan to do. So please, especially my Service and Leadership Club students, it's a great opportunity for you to get 5 to 6 service hours or more, depending on how many recordings you take. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Terrence Gilyard. He is our guest speaker today, and from the career, to talk about a career in the technology industry. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Terrence Gilyard. Thank you.
Good, good evening, GCA parents, students. Today, I'll be talking to you guys about a career in technology. Of course, my name is Terrence Gilyard. I've I'm currently a technical lead at Cox Communications, and that means I'm over like a group of 4 or 5 other technicians. I help them with their career and the goals that they need. How did I get in technology? I started my career in technology um, in the military about the end of 1990, close to the end of 1990. I was working in I would say an undisclosed location in an undisclosed position, but it was in the military where I actually transitioned from telecommunications, just a general overall telecommunications, to more specific info technology, or I would say data communications. Um, since I left the military like at the beginning of 1999, and that I left the, I would say, public sector, or government sector, and I went into the private, where I started working for corporations, or private corporations. One of the main ones was a company called Scientific Atlanta, out of the Georgia area. Um, while as a technician at Scientific Atlanta, I got my bachelor's degree in telecommunications, and I've been working in telecommunications for more than, or information technology slash telecommunications, for more than 20 plus years. I actually got some notes just in case I forget what I need to say, but I think I'm okay for right now. It's all coming back to me. All right. So what do I do? Uh, as I said, I'm a level 4 technician at at Cox Communications. And what do we do and what do we are? We're like a cable company slash ISP. Um, and that allows me a lot of opportunity at that or at this particular organization. And what I do for Cox or for any technical company that I work for is I minister applications that monitor, I would say, the network. And what I have on the screen shows you a data network, and it's a very rudimentary data network. It's not anything in any way representative of how complex the network or what we call the network can be. Um, what you see in there is a couple machine or couple computers, routers, switches, clouds, and then on the left hand side you see a router. This is a router, and these are like stacks of routers slash switches. Um, I know you guys are probably pretty young, but at one point there was a distinction between routers and switches. Switches was more the part where uh, your individual computers connect into an environment or what they call a a local network. Then that environment plugs into a router, which connects that to a larger network. So that's kind of related. It's kind of shown here, but not really. It's more up to date where the router actually is the switch and the router. So that's kind of how technology has been going. It's been growing exponentially. Instead of just having a switch here and a router here, now you have a lot of routing switches, and it's not uncommon to see what we call data centers looking like this. Let's see here. In my career in information technology, I started in the military. We was working with mainframe, huge computers. I mean, they are huge mainframes and what you call transceivers, multiplexers. So that was really almost like some of the beginning of information technology, and that transition from mainframes to individual servers, which is smaller computers, but it was is distributed more versus all in one location, which because it was distributed, it took away that one point of failure. And I'm going to tell you why that was important. Because you have companies and organizations that have mainframes. When that mainframe had an issue, that brought down the entire company. So, like, let's say you're a Walmart and you got a mainframe that's running your business. That mainframe goes down, business stops at that location until that mainframe comes up. But when it's distributed to different servers, that server go down. That only affects that particular application that server is running on. Now that's explaining it very simply because we have actually gone from mainframes which is single point to distributed to virtual, and I don't really want to get too involved in that, but that's really the where we are now. We're at virtual servers that might be housed in what you call these machines we call ESX hosts that host several different virtual machines. But I'm not going to get too deep into that right now. I want to just kind of give you a basic idea of what I do in tech and some of my insights about tech. I'm trying to go forward. Did it change? Yeah, finally. So a lot of folks ask me about how do they get in tech and what's available in tech. I would say everything. Like right now, this is tech. This is information technology. Like the fact that you guys are taking school online, over the internet. That's how far we've gone with what we call technology or information technology. Careers in tech are like software development, programming. I would say that's that's learning to program in like Python, C++. Some of these skills, a lot of employers are at this point in time are in high demand. I started my career in tech or on the private sector as a network engineer, where I did more of the overall management of the network, not only the administration of the application that monitors the network. I use the application that monitors the network as a tool to manage the network that we was all also maintaining. It all will depend on what or like what corporation or what where you work, but it seems like the bigger corporations, the less you kind of do, more your work is compartmentalized versus at a smaller organization where you do everything. And I would say both of them have their advantages. The smaller organization where you do everything, you'll probably learn a lot about the overall environment. Like you won't only be specifically learning about the networking or the the a specific program that you program. You'll be learning, I would say, a broad range of things because you're going to be needed more from for that smaller organization. But a bigger organization, they might not have you working on a lot of things, but they will have you the quantity of those same things is greater, if that makes sense. Like instead of me working on the network, the applications, and the whole corporate environment, I'm working on a segment of the corporate environment, but I'm using a lot of tools that are similar to manage those segments, if that makes sense to you. Um, other things that you can consider in the technology system and administration, and I'm pretty sure some of you may have heard of cloud engineers. That's your AWS, and then your Azure. That's taking a lot of the technology from you know that might be housed in organizations, and then you're able to move them to a public cloud like AWS or Microsoft Azure. There's jobs in data analyst in technology that's through tools like Splunk and Elk, or what these data analysts do. They bring in a lot of data from different locations through these tools, and then businesses are able to make business decisions based off of all that data. Like when you start bringing in that data and then you graphically display it in a way, it starts making a lot more sense to you. Security consultants, uh, that is like one of the hottest growing industries right now. Security in every organization, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but every organization is looking to tighten their security. Business analysts and application administrators. Believe it or not, like I know some people think, oh well, they got like you're learning tech, and you gotta be this programming genius. Well, that's not always the case. I mean, there are specific applications certain businesses may use. Like one that comes to mind is Salesforce. Salesforce is an application that allows businesses to do sales in a way that 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 unifies their business. So I would say, certain applications just might be your ticket into the a career in tech. Um, I know there's folks now that are getting more into the social media part of technology, and businesses are needing social media consultants. And that's your job is working on Twitter. Your job is working in a aspect of social media. So tech is growing exponentially, and this is right here what I present as far as the careers in tech. That's the tip of the iceberg. It's going nowhere. As a matter of fact, it's getting larger as we speak. At one point, folks was thinking maybe artificial intelligence or automation would shrink tech, but no, it's actually expanding tech, and I'll get into some of the reasons why later. Um, What are the requirements for tech? It varies, and that's what I have here. Varies. Some of the things that are that some business will require if you don't have experience is college, formal education. But right now, I've worked with a variety of types or a variety of different individuals that have various levels of some of the requirements. Um, Formal education, which is your college, where your computer science degrees, mathematics, engineering. Those are some. Those are definitely the main things that you will see on most job requirements for technology. But I mean, the opportunities are so wide that I don't. I'm pretty sure that that's not going. That doesn't stop anyone. Tutorials, learning tutorials, certifications, those actually help you or can help propel you a career in technology. Practical applications. One thing that one thing that I some when folks ask me how can they get in technology in tech, I always say, okay, well, take an application or or a skill and make sure you start learning it, applying it. I mean, there's plenty of demos that you can get. There's things that you can do like setting up VMs at your home and running different technology on them. You can start taking Python tutorials. The practical application is just basically demonstrating your ability to use the technology. And with that in mind, you didn't necessarily have to do program at IBM to be considered by an organization. You might be at your local church and you set up a website and you had the website and you program certain things for the website to do. You brought in different. You actually use the technology. This is practical applications, and a lot of and a lot of businesses will love for the you with that experience to come to their organization. All right, so I'm not going to be long, but I'm going to do something that often do in my line of work. But I'm gonna do this in a different way. I don't think this has been done before. This is called the SWOT analysis, and I will be doing a SWOT analysis on tech. Now, typically when I'm doing SWOT analysis, it's specifically on certain applications. Like I might do a SWOT analysis on an application that we need to, as an organization, need to evaluate to see, where it might fit in our organization. But what I wanted to do, or I wanted to try, is a SWOT analysis on tech itself, technical innovation itself. So let's go. So one of the main strengths that I think, and I said my SWOT analysis, so you might talk to some other guy in tech, and they might discount it, but either way, I do have 20 plus years in tech. But here's my SWOT analysis. One of the main strengths of tech, I say, is human innovation and resourcefulness. To me, that's the strength of technology in itself: human innovation and resourcefulness. By saying that, I also say humanity is also the greatest weakness of tech. And let me give you an example. Well, of course, on the strength side, you know that without us needing to get things done in certain ways, or we wouldn't have technology or we wouldn't have information technology. But on the weakness side, how can humanity be a weakness for tech? I'm gonna give you a story. Here's story time. There is a. I was working at Scientific Atlanta. I think that was the company. Yeah, I was there, and we purchased what you call a fiber ring. They called it Fitty ring at the time, but it was a fiber ring. And what this ring is supposed to do is It surrounds a metro area, or it surrounded the Georgia metro area. And what it was supposed to allow our company to do is have no point of failure. Well, have at least a redundant connection to back to our location. So we had one way out and one way, two ways out and two ways in. Now you would think that okay, that's not so bad, but there was a construction going on near our location once, and they happened to cut the fiber ring. Now normally that's not a problem because that technology was designed to self heal itself. So if they cut it, it'll just be able to go the opposite route because there's a ring. But the problem was, it's like when you think of a ring, you think of a circle. You don't really think of how it really was set up. It was set up in the same trench. When I mean that, so you take a fiber ring that's going down the trench, and then the opposite side that is going down the same trench. Now, I don't know why they did it. I don't know if it's laziness or they was just being cheap, but that's what happened. And that's why, so that the technology actually would have worked had it not been put in the same trench. But that's why list humanity, and that's just one example. I got I got a uh, doctoral dissertation of examples of how, you know how humanity can be a weakness for tech. I'm not going to get too much into it, but I'm going to talk about some more strengths and some more weaknesses. Speed, efficiency, accuracy. That's why we're using tech. We use it to make things faster, more accurate, and more efficient. Now, some of the weaknesses: lack of soft skills. Technology, to this day, I have yet to see a technology with soft skills or being able to have what we call emotional intelligence. So that's why, this is something you might want to take mind of, because technology doesn't do that now. You still need humans. Like if I get on a phone call and I'm calling my bank because there's a mistake that they made, and I'm angry, and I'm talking to a artificial intelligence. I don't think right now they don't have artificial intelligence that knows when you're angry. I mean, they might know that if you have to call about a specific issue that you're angry, but by the inflections of my voice, the artificial intelligence does not is not able to pick up on the cues that I'm angry. So, lack of soft skills is one of the weaknesses of text, and no emotional intelligence. One of the things that I'm listing as a strength is its dependability, but I'm saying it's with conditions. And on the flip side of that, I say it's dependent on human facilitation. And let me explain. Okay, so here's another story. I have daughters. I'm pretty sure you guys met them, and they're wonderful, wonderful girls. But they got chores, right? And now when I need them to do the chores, they have purposeful forgetfulness, right? Like, let's say if I need them to sweep the floor, they got purposeful forgetfulness. They're nice girls, but they still are okay to forget that item. Now I went out and got a Roomba. A Roomba. That's technology. That's a vacuum. The round vacuum machines, and what and I programmed it. Hey, okay, as long as I make sure that Roomba has power and has a clear path, it will it will vacuum my floors. It will pick up the dirt. That's what I mean by is dependable by conditions, and it's dependent on human facilitation. Now, the only problem with the Roomba is that when the conditions are not right, it might not do a good job. It's not going to make the decision that to not get stuck on my wife's drapes. Like the drapes are hanging down, and then the Roomba is gone, and the next thing you know, the Roomba is not doing anything else. So that's a strength, and that's a weakness as well. It's dependability, what conditions, and it's always dependent on human facilitation. When I say facilitation, that means you are the one setting the technology up to be successful. And that's not, and I use the Roomba, but that's with every technology that I've experienced. There's something that, like, even with the programming, you have to set up the programs so that the programs to run correctly. And if it doesn't run correctly, you're going back in, updating the programming to make it run even a little bit more efficient. So, and that brings me to my last point, or on strengths, is technology is always evolving, because right back to the first point, humanity is always innovating. We're always innovating, and we always showing our resourcefulness. And so we take the technology and we continuously evolve it to make it more, to increase the speed, the efficiency, the accuracy, and to possibly remove the its dependence on us. And one of the a big weakness is also, my last point on the weaknesses is, it multiplies the speed and size of mistakes. So if I have one of my techs at, where I work, if they make a mistake and they have to manually configure, let's say, a router or a switch, and they make a mistake there, that might just bring down one or two things. But if I automate it and I'm pushing it out to hundreds of devices with a mistake in it, man, there's been several companies almost lost their shirt. I mean, I don't know if you guys heard about SolarWinds, the breach that happened several. Well, we'll get into that later. But the breach that happened in, what was that, 2 years ago? I was it that was a mistake. But I would say that was probably not my more on. Let me go back. Humanity. Yeah, that's actually my number one mistake. That, I would say, that rings at my top level mistake of humanity. It was it it was something that the business decided to do that allowed something to happen, and we'll get to that shortly. So we talked about the strengths, we talked about the weaknesses. We're gonna wrap this up talking about the opportunities and the threats. That's right, threats. So some opportunities for in tech: automation, more automation, doing things automatic. And I'm pretty sure you guys have probably saw Amazon with the robotic technology that they're automating the way the warehouse is picking up packages, and other companies are trying to automate. We automate. We write scripts so that we don't have to get up at the middle of the night when an error happens. But the script that we write, or a program that we create, will take care of it. So the automation is the opportunities, and that is always a continuous thing, because the more we use technology, the more we need to automate technology. You find so more usefulness. At the end of last year, I don't know if you guys caught it, but Facebook went to Meta, changed the name to Meta, and now they're bringing in what we call the metaverse. And now what that's supposed to do? That's supposed to be you getting in the virtual world now, where you can actually walk around. And I'm pretty sure some of you guys have the Oculus. Uh, they have yet. I mean, that metaverse is at its beginning stages. It takes me all the way back to when we first started playing Atari. I know a lot of you. I'm pretty sure none of you guys remember the Atari, where we at one point it was one stick here on this side and a stick here on this side, and it was a ball like thing. It's called pong, and all you can do is just hit it from here to here. That's where we started. And then now, if you look at at games, they're a lot more advanced. So right now, you're seeing the beginning of some of the metaverse, where it'll probably it's more still story uh, interactions, but it'll probably eventually get to a point where anything can happen, and at any point. So the usefulness is increasing there, and it's increasing in every aspect of our life. Uh, I'm waiting on a lawnmower to cut my yard that that makes sense, and they're getting there. I mean, I've seen them in the stores. I don't think they're quite there yet, but that's technology, and it's becoming much more useful. Um, I always already mentioned the efficiency, accuracy, but that's always an opportunity as well, because we can always make technology more efficient and more accurate. Uh, Another opportunity, I think, for tech, one of the biggest things, and this kind of goes back to my first point, or under my strength area, where we always have to do the human facilitation of the technology. Self learning, the ability for the technology to start learning from its environment and making decisions off of that. Like, if it's at, I don't know, McDonald's, and it's making hamburgers, and then something's going wrong, it will be nice if the technology will be able to recognize that, okay, I'm making this hamburger wrong, and correct itself. Right now, I'm pretty sure we got humans that's sitting around watching the technology do certain things, because right, the self-learning ability has not is not where we want it to be. But I know, and that's my last opportunity point, it's always evolving, because we're always innovating, and we always are using our resourcefulness to make it better. Threats is one of my favorite parts. Humanity is a threat. I know I said humanity is a strength, I said humanity is a weakness. Humanity could be an opportunity as well, but I definitely listed it as a threat. And how is humanity a threat to technology? A cultural shift can take technology. We can say, hey, we want to get back to nature. We want to live in natural houses. We want to live uh, with no technology. That is a threat to tech in itself. We could be like the Luddites, who actually at some point, I think it was the 19th century, they would they would sabotage tech, because they did. I think they was in the textile industry. They would sabotage tech because they didn't want that interfering with the current lifestyle that they had. That could come back. I'm pretty sure we got people that thinks like Luddites today. I'm not in the politics of it. I'm just saying that's a cultural tech. That's a cultural shift. Can be a threat to technology. Also, now that we know everything is using technology, we're as another threat is we are targeting technology. When I was in when I was in the military, in an undisclosed place, in an undisclosed location, it was revealed to me that my position being in telecommunications was one of those positions that the enemy always want to try to take out. So when those missiles was coming or are coming, they're always aiming at the technology first. Because if they could take out the technology, they could take out the general eyes and ears. So, and I know I made that kind of, you know, um, I made it more of a military thing. It's still in me, but for businesses, what do we target? We target their servers. We try to find. Well, I don't, but you know, other hackers try to find weaknesses within businesses so that they can exploit those weaknesses. So tech is something that humanity is always targeting now, as a way to as a way to exploit resources. And another threat that I called for tech, and my last threat, is tech replacing tech, like vacuum tubes to transistors. At one point in our computers, we had vacuum tubes, and then those vacuum tubes became transistors. Now, that is not a problem. That's not a problem because that's technology is always evolving. Unless you are the owner of the vacuum tube company that is providing the vacuum tubes, right? Your company's like, we're going to transistors now. This is a lesson for a later time or a bigger lesson. But yeah, that at one point we was getting our DVDs through Blockbuster. Technology came, Netflix came. Sorry for this. I knew this was going. Yeah. We was getting our DVDs through Blockbuster. I'm pretty sure most of you guys don't remember that because my daughters are older than you, and they don't remember. They sparsely remember that. But at the time, Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy Netflix. They never brought Netflix, and Netflix was the end of Blockbuster. I think they might still have that one Blockbuster in that one location, but it'll be gone soon. But tech is always replacing tech, and it's normally not an issue until you are the tech company that's or you are the technology, or you own the technical company that's being replaced. All right. Let's see what this last. I don't think I have anything on my last slide. All right. Yeah. So that concludes my discussion with you all about technology and a career in tech. I've been in for 20 years. I enjoy it. It's at times it's challenging for me. Uh, at this point because of COVID. I'm 100% remote. I work from home. Prior to COVID, I would work a portion from home almost on a daily basis. Anyway, I could avoid traffic. But lately, it's just been 100% from home, and it's been okay. So I will open the discussion back up to you all. See if you have any questions or things that I can answer. And Michelle, you there?
Yes, guys, if you guys go ahead and raise your hands, we'll just start at the top of the list with your questions. Or if you want to type in the chat box, it is up to you. So we've got a couple of people typing. And I'm going to go back.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it.
There was someone that asked a question about, someone asked, is that an Iron Man mask in the background?
Oh yeah, that's a Iron Man Punisher mask. Yeah, my daughters got me that because they thought I would enjoy it. So I do enjoy it, and I keep these things. Yeah.
Someone asked earlier about when you were talking about I'm trying to go back in the questions. Give me one moment. About the different types of networks as to whether or not one was better than the other. Was it diversified? Casey, was that you? Can you put your question back in the chat for me? I can't remember if it was Casey or not.
All right, cool. Somebody's mother is working tech. Well, that's great. That's excellent. I mean, we all, in some aspects, we're all doing technology, right? I mean, even you guys, like knowing what I know now, knowing what I know now, as a like I've interviewed folks that came to work at certain man, you already got experience in tech. you
Especially our GCA kids.
right, you're using it every day, using it every day. And at certain aspects, like if your cable go out and you plug up the router, you got the switch that your family in order so you can just get on your daily class. Man, please, that's on the resume. Putting that on a resume.
I like that. Yeah, you see that. I love that you're explaining that to them because a lot of times they don't may not know or even recognize that
all
that
that
is
all
something.
that goes on a resume. It's just the way you word it. How you word it is what matters. But it all can go. You facilitated communications. You set up the church so it can so y'all can watch a video that goes across the network. You set up a remote communications or remote monitoring solution. I mean that's all legit experiences, and you know this once you are in tech. I'm taking business and technology. That is excellent. I think that's great because I mean, like you can't, like you really can't actually. I don't know too many businesses that don't use technology. I mean, it's the programming that computer science is great, engineering is great, but it's all like this is the future where we're going or where we are is not going to not happen. Like is there's not going to be anything that we got that is not affected by technology. So yeah, what is your preferred coding language to learn? I uh I know a little bit more scripting on Linux, but I know at Cox we a lot of us use Python. Python is the coding technology that a lot of us are learning because it seems like you can do a lot more with it. I know when I first started with like C plus, man, Python makes it a lot easier to. I would say Linux. Yeah, Linux is a great thing to learn. Right now, we most times when we are operating in our for business applications, a lot of it runs on Linux. But now we do have some that runs on Windows. But yeah, Linux and Python is good. But for Windows, it's more like PowerShell and like Python, PowerShell, Linux. Those C++. Now ATM, I don't hear too much about ATM anymore. Ever take over personal computing? Yeah, I mean, it's argued that Mac OS is a flavor of Linux, right? But I don't think it's gonna. Right now it hasn't overtaken Windows. Right now we're still running Windows. So now Ruby is great too. Ruby is excellent. Yeah, I think that's a great programming language to learn. But yeah, understanding the basics of coding. I mean, it's like I even use it, to this day. I most of my applications are Linux, so I normally write scripts in Bash, but it's open. Like you can program in Linux or you can program in Python.
One student asked about Mr. Lewis as a high school student. How do I find people or mentors for job shadowing in the tech field? Are you aware of any of those types of opportunities?
No, normally we get college students like we have programs that allow college students to become what is it like work start study programs. It's hardly like I know at Cox we hardly get high school students, but we do get a lot of college students, and normally that's through the college organization that we use. Let's see what else. Also, there's big. What is your profile? I'm just making sure I'm not missing any of you guys' questions. How much of your job relates to accessibility and usability? I think a lot of my job relate to accessibility and usability. Um, I mean, yeah, a lot of it. But I guess I would probably need to know exactly what you mean by that. Um, everything becomes accessible. Like for instance, like even when I'm at my office, I'm not necessarily where the our applications or our servers reside. I'm all like that's at a remote locations, at multiple remote locations, for disaster purposes, just in case one location goes down and another location can take over. But what would be the best? I don't know if you really need to buy a PC for programming. Like if you already got a PC, I would say the the cheapest PC you can get for programming. Why I say that? Because if you could get a a a program to run on a PC that's not really worth nothing, uh, you'll be able to make it work on PCs. A lot of PCs when you got resources. Like when we give you the resources, or if we don't give you the resources, you'll still be able to make it work. So the more issues that you encounter, the more that you can actually the more issues you can fix. Because at some point in most of our organizations, we're going to push that computer, or right now it's not even computers directly, because we have technology such as Kubernetes, which is an orchestration technology where the applications in themselves don't run on a single computer. The applications run in what we call containerized environments, and those containerized environments are spread across several different computers, and and so it doesn't matter if one computer go down, that same application will just jump to another computer, and their environment stays operational. All right, definitely not a Chromebook though. I don't know. The GCA PCs suck for programming. Well, maybe. I don't know. I myself, for instance, my daughters and my wife does not appreciate this, but I got Plex running on Linux. I don't know if you guys know what Plex is, but Plex is this it's this application that I run all my movies. I got tutorials on there. I have all kind of stuff on my Plex servers, my TV shows, everything. But I have that running on, just a regular old. I got it. I think that PC is probably as old as my. It's probably. I think I may have got it when my daughter was like 7. So it's pretty old. I mean, it is pretty old. So it sucks. But what I did is took Windows off, put Linux on it, and it runs like a charm. So I and the more I'm able to do that, the more I'm able to somehow use minute resources, or resources that's not the best, the more I'm able to learn. And the more I'm able to do that, like when you give me something that, with all these resources, man, I got it working. I got it working like a charm. My applications at work never go down. Knock on wood, because you don't ever want it to go down. Linux, Windows in most cases. Yeah, Linux beats Windows in most cases, I would say. Um, but it depends. It depends. Jigsaw refresh. HH. I'm gonna just see what else some folks got. Definitely not a Chromebook. Guess he's not a fan of Chrome.
He's definitely not a fan of the Chromebook.
I,
Mr. Kushneys came back, Mr. Gilyard, with the question that he had. He was asking about accessibility for differently abled students or people. So, does your company have software that you specifically work with for students or for
I
people
don't
with
I don't
disabilities?
specifically work with that type of software, but I do know that's always something that they make sure happens. Um, yeah, with a company like mine, yeah, they definitely is going to make things much more accessible for everyone that's involved, because they're a big corporation. So yeah, yeah, I my HP broke. Maybe it did. I know my daughter's got computers now that they think is broke, but they're not really broke. You can make them work to fix it, but I need a new screen. Goodness. Well, do you need a new screen? Well, you might need a new monitor, because you can always plug a monitor up and That'll get you working again. I mean, I got about 100 of them. Well, I wouldn't say I got 100 monitors. Yeah, I used to fix it, but I ran out of screens. Well, you can always get a new screen. All right, what else we got? I'm leaving early. Da da da. Ruby, Linux, and Python. Yeah, I say Linux, Python, C++, Java. Some folks are still programming in Java. Applications and games are needing that Java. What else? That's PCs for programming. This know how to do a little Ruby. Linux is taking over some personal computer. And, there is like Ubuntu is a is a Linux application that is, I would say, is much more user friendly than some of the ones that I actually operate at in my office. We use what you call Red Hat. Is only command line. It's never a GUI. Now, believe it or not, I've worked with folks that just like they've been working with command line so long that they prefer it. They don't like the Windows applications or the GUIs because they they specialize in command line and they can make things work the way they need to work with the commands that they know without needing to look around or click around. It's just certain commands. So I think it's do you need to be knowledgeable in both hardware and software to be good in the field? Nope. I wouldn't say so. I mean, maybe you just need to know what you're doing, right? Like it depends on what you're doing. Like sometimes some folks are good with hardware. Like I don't even touch hardware anymore. At one point in my career, I used to touch hardware, but I haven't touched hardware within the last 10, 20 years as far as what I do at work. I don't never touch the hardware. Fedora, a distro, Red Hat, the creator of Linux favorite personal distro. Yeah, yeah. So Red Hat is okay. CentOS, Ubuntu, we use them all. Yeah. Do you need to be knowledgeable? All right, so that was it. I have this prehistoric PC, but it's like getting black lines. So I'm just leaving it alone because I don't want to break it. Wow. I don't know how old it is. But uh, sometimes uh, sometimes I try to reinstall of a Windows operating system. I'm not telling you this, and you can't hold this against me. I'm not telling you to do that because if you do that, you're on your own. I'm not coming to your house to try to help you fix it or nothing. If you do that, you're on your own. That is my disclaimer. I've done it though, but
All right. We are at about 4:52. I just
yeah,
want
I think that's great. That one person was saying they're programming and I'm better than myself on online programming. Great. Like that's really where we're going with this. Like I mentioned education, but trust me, and I'm an advocate for it. I'm an advocate for lifelong learning. But there is so many ways to get in technology now because essentially technology is advancing so fast. I don't know if like education is able to keep up with the speed in which technology is advancing because by the time they could get together and say, okay, like we're gonna go teach this curriculum, we're the business is pushing technology to the next level. Like right now, I mean, I know some of you guys are probably learning about dense wave division multiplexing, where we're taking the waves of the fiber strands or the light from the fiber, and we're dividing it so that we can actually increase the efficiency and the speed across fiber connections. That's just the basis of it. Now, when I'm at the office and I'm talking to some of the engineers, they're thinking real time on how they can like take that and multiply that again. It's like it's always evolving. So the soon as you can get in it, the I mean, you're already in it to me. Like you're already in it, and you're not going like even if you don't like computers, you're already involved in this whole information technology field. because every field is involved in information technology. There's no business that's not running. Like you go into a business, you could be an accountant. You are involved. You are an information technology accountant now because it's all connected. The business don't want you to just have that information on your particular computer. They want that information so they can make decisions across the business. That means, and they don't want to all have to come to the same location to look at your screen to get that data. They need that data to be able to be expanded across the organization. So everything, and everything will is involved in technology. And I appreciated you guys. I appreciated the question. Let me see. Accountant is another story, bro. Is it? Well, yeah, it is. But accounting, that is like you. We're not doing accounting without technology. That's we have to have that. Like that's why past 3 years that I want to make my brain dead. I had to. Oh, okay. She said I have had the same accounting job for the past 3 years. I think they want to make my brain dead. Hey, I'm pretty sure that's somebody. I think that's somebody's parent. I'm pretty sure. Because I would be amazed that, oh man, they already got you working like that.
For the last 3 years. We need to check up on that date. Savita, I'm coming for
No,
you.
I'm a student. She must work for her. She probably works for her parents.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But yo, the more you can use technology, the more you can automate things, the less you have to do.
All right, Kylie. Thank you, Samaya, for putting that attendance link down in the box. I appreciate
Right.
you
All good.
all coming and participating today. It was a wonderful session. That survey is going to help drive the future sessions. So we're asking things about what your plans are, whether it be in or outstate college, job, entrepreneur, any of those things. That again, it's an attendance, but it's more help Ms. Gilyard make this more effective for you. So please take an opportunity to fill that out. Know that all sessions are recorded and will be added to the CTAE month schedule once we convert them to our safe YouTube channel. Again, I want to say thank you to Mr. Terrence Gilyard who came in and presented to us today to help us get a wide, broader, more in-depth, I know that sounded crazy, understanding of information technology, but again, that's what we wanted from these sessions was for you to really get a inside view of what the job is outside of what it would say on a job application or a resume. Please come back and see us tomorrow. Ms. Doris, a fellow GCA student, will be presenting. She is a teen entrepreneur and president of our GCA Student Council. She will be talking about her CTAE pathway of being a teen entrepreneur. So, again, thank you all so much for coming this evening. I appreciate you and your time. Thank your parents for coming. Look for some new sessions. We've got a lot of great things planned. The data from my survey drives my ability to be able to provide that information to you. So please fill out my survey because I need that data as evidence to be able to provide you additional services. That's my way of saying fill out my survey. I need it. You guys have a wonderful evening. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.